Travis, why don't we do that again in just a second? We're going to begin the second service. Much excitement, great energy, so many things happening. Whew. Let's just ring it again, Travis. Play it again, Sam. Oh. Okay. We were missing Taryn, then Anthony left the room. It's great. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. Whew. Let's take a breath in together. A breath out. We enter today, as we do every Sunday, with a wide range of emotions, and today maybe a wider range than usual. But I'm very glad you are all here, that we can be here together. You are very welcome in this space, and all of your emotions are very welcome in this space. We begin by singing number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, a beautiful Joyce Poley song. Please rise in body or in spirit.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust our wisdom in each of us, every color, every green and fine, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell a story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of a sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
We are so happy you're here with us this morning. It's the best place to be in Atlanta, Georgia, any and every Sunday morning.
This is true. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, a beloved community that changes lives. I am Associate Minister Taryn Strauss, and I am so glad you are here with us this morning. Wherever you are from and whomever you love, you are welcome here. If this is your first time, or if somehow you have not yet had the chance, please stop by our Welcome Center near the quiet room after the service to allow us to get to know you a little better. You can sign up to receive information about services and programs being presented over the next several weeks. Today is the first Sunday of the month. Our children, our youth, are beginning worship with us. After the chalice is lit, they will go to their religious education classes in the social hall. For more information about what they're up to there, please check your order of service, or you can talk to one of the hosts at the RE table in the social hall. After the second service at 12:30 p.m., we offer religious education classes for adults. And once again, I invite you to take a look at the order of service for more info there. I especially want to highlight our Inquirers class, a great place to meet new people, to learn more about this faith community, and there will be a Q&A session today as part of their program. It meets in room 1, right off of the social hall. And the topic of Inquirers today is orientation and generosity. Also, in the sanctuary, I believe, Reverend Makar will be teaching an adult RE class today, Problems and Paradoxes in Ethics. Right here in the sanctuary, he will engage in an entertaining and provocative exploration of some classic problems and paradoxes in ethics. Part of the process is that you will come to learn more about yourself and your ethical orientation through life. Come and join the fun right here next week for an Educational Earth Day celebration in the Treehouse Picnic area. So that is an exciting area of refuge, as it is called. I saw little goslings there earlier this morning, actually. So I don't know if you'll hang out with those goslings, but they're there. Activities will include an outdoor picnic. The food will be provided by Combat Climate Change, and there will be a live wildlife demonstration in addition to the geese. Also, you can get some up-to-date information on climate change and other environmental issues and what you can do to help combat climate change. Please RSVP to Bert Pierce if you can by April 10th, and bring a picnic blanket and water bottle with you, and also vibes for sunny skies next week, April 14th. You are also invited to join Reverend Anthony Makar and myself for an exciting return to an annual congregational retreat at the Mountain Retreat Center in Highlands, North Carolina on April 26th through the 28th. Music will be provided by James Richards for our Sunday morning worship over there. We will also have Sunday morning worship here, but Anthony and I will be at the mountain. So join us for a fun, relaxing, and inspiring weekend. Activities will include a ropes course, storytelling contest, campfires, hiking, worship services, and so much more. Check out the itinerary and register today online at the UUCA website. Scholarships are available, and there are also big discounts for children, so we do hope a lot of families will join us. And now, won't you please be sure to take this moment to put your cell phone in its most reverent position. Thank you so much. Once again, we are so glad you are here with us on this morning. Our story this morning has a few complex words, so if the children out there are not familiar with these words, I want to make sure they get a quick definition. So we'll be talking about a monastery. That's where the story takes place. A monastery is where monks live. And what is a monk, actually? A man who's taken religious vows of poverty, prayer, and lives with other monks, and often that is part of their practice as well. The abbot is the head monk, and the Messiah, well, that is a very special leader or savior of people chosen by God. Ready? Once upon a time, there was a wise abbot of a monastery, this place where monks live, who was the friend of an equally wise rabbi in the town over yonder. This was in the old country long, long ago, when times were always hard, but in this particular time, they were even harder, even worse. The abbot's community was dwindling, and the faith life of the monks there were fearful and anxious. He went over to the next community, to the rabbi, his friend, and he wept to him. And the rabbi comforted him, and he said, "There is something you need to know, my brother. We in the Jewish community have long known that the Messiah is one of you." "What?" exclaimed the abbot. "The Messiah is one of us? How can this be?" But the rabbi insisted it was so, and the abbot went back to his monastery, wondering and praying, comforted and excited. Once back in the monastery, he would pass by a monk in the hallway, and he would wonder if he was the one. The abbot had always been kind, but now he began to treat all of his brothers with profound kindness, even awe, deeper respect, reverence. Soon, everyone in the monastery noticed. One of the other brothers came to him and asked him what had happened to him. And after some coaxing, the abbot told him what the rabbi had said. The Messiah is one of us. Soon the other monk was looking at his brothers differently, with deeper respect, and wondering. Word spread quickly. The Messiah is one of us. The monastery was suddenly full of life, worship, love, and grace. The prayer life was rich and passionate, devoted. The services, the worship was alive and vibrant. People treated each other with such reverence, knowing each of them could be the Messiah. When they took their vows, soon the surrounding villages came to the services, listening and watching intently. They heard about this incredible thing going on, this bold thing going on in the monastery. And then many of them began to join the community of the monks. And as they took their vows, they were told the thrilling mystery, the truth that their life was based upon, the source of their strength, the richness of their life together. The Messiah is one of us. The monastery grew and expanded into house after house, and the monks grew in wisdom and grace before each other and in the eyes of God. And they say still, if you stumble across the place where there is life, and there is hope, and kindness, and graciousness, well, the secret is still the same. The Messiah is one of us.
So we have a full house this morning. If we can squeeze towards the middle of rows, so as people keep coming in, as they keep doing, they can have a place to sit. Let's enjoy that.
For
At this time, I would like to invite the members of the Legacy Society and Marianne Oakley to come forward and light our chalice this morning.
Cindy, will you light the chalice? It's fine. Please say the chalice lighting words with us. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace. Why did Godfrey and I become members of the UUCA Endowment Fund Legacy Society? We wanted to do a lot of good for UUCA. I thought about the railings in the old sanctuary, additions to the playground, help with mortgage payments, and right now, tuning and fixing up our piano while we are here in the treehouse. There are many additions and improvements our endowment fund has provided, in whole or in part. We who are members of the Legacy Society give to improve our own faith community. What better use of our funds can we find? Longtime member and social justice advocate Barbara Burnham, who died last year, was generous in her life and after her death. UUCA and the UUCA Endowment Fund both received large gifts from Barbara recently through her estate. We are grateful for her life and her gifts. We ask each of you to join us and Barbara as Legacy Society members by signing up at our table in the social hall after the service. Let's all try to make this a better place. Thank you.
The light of our chalice flame also symbolizes the warmth of community. So please take a minute to turn to your neighbor, invite them into this space with a handshake or a hug as our children head out to their creative arts classes.
Morning.
When there's so much greeting, it seems people like each other. It's just lots of friendliness. I like that. We have more service, everybody. We're going to keep going. How lucky are we? Most people in this room received a letter or email this week, but for anyone who didn't or who is visiting, after 12 years here at UUCA, Senior Minister Reverend Anthony Makar has accepted a position as Senior Minister at West Shore UU Church near Cleveland, Ohio. Anthony is one of my closest and dearest friends. As a colleague, I will miss creating life-changing and life-affirming worship with him. As a chosen family member, I will miss spending holidays together. And as a friend, I deeply understand his desire for a fresh life start in a new place. Though why anyone would voluntarily move to Ohio, I'll never know. Sorry. I apologize to everyone from Ohio for this and the rest of my speech. Yes. I have had a little more time to digest this information than most. Some may still be in shock. My constant and unrelenting optimism helps me move from shock, grief, anger, sadness into gratitude pretty quickly. Sometimes, like right now, we can feel all those emotions all at the same time. When we lose a loved one, it is possible to grieve their passing, to mourn their loss, and to be incredibly grateful for all they brought to our lives. So I ask again, how lucky are we? The average tenure of a minister in the United States is 5 to 7 years. Unitarian Universalists do a little bit better. It's 6 to 8 years. And for the past 12 years, our congregation, our community, our city, and our faith tradition have been blessed by our brilliant and visionary senior minister. But, yeah. But it's not time for a retrospective just yet. We still have several months of Anthony's sermons, of his teaching, of his high-pitched laugh, and his very colorful socks before we have to say goodbye. They're electric guitars this morning, if you want to look closely. Aw, me too, Z. People told me last night and both this morning that there was some news on Facebook that Don has been looking for other jobs and will be following Anthony out the door, and I want to squash that rumor. Yes. and for us to know, it's not time for that yet, and for us to know that as we grieve together and we take our grief to social media, which is fine, that we are gentle with each other, that we don't voice our sad opinions and let that turn into rumors, which turns into discord. We want to be gentle and kind with each other. So a couple years ago, 2 of the largest UU congregations both had openings at music director, and they both recruited me heavily. When you love a job as much as I love this job, there is nothing wrong with hearing an offer. And so it'd have to be pretty great to get me out of here. And so I did go to those congregations and work with their choirs and lead worship there. And I was offered a $15,000 raise and better benefits to go somewhere else. And I chose to stay here in Atlanta. Stay here and be with you. Yeah. I own a house here. I own a business here. I am very involved in the artistic community in this place. I conduct the Atlanta Gay Men's Chorus. I have many things keeping me in Atlanta, and I'm happy to be here with you. We, as a congregation, will continue to thrive. This pulpit where I now stand is storied. It is impactful. This pulpit is one of the most prestigious posts in all of Unitarian Universalism. We know that we will have a slew of amazing candidates to fill it. And the next senior minister that we call will continue to enrich our lives, to enrich our community, and to enrich our city. I hope that each and every one of you gets a chance to tell Anthony how lucky we have been to have him in Atlanta for 12 long years. How fortunate we all are that on our varied spiritual paths, we got to converge for a while. I know that I am a better, more knowledgeable, more worldly, more justice-minded, and more understanding human being because I've listened to every sermon Anthony has given for the past 11 years, most of them twice. I can't imagine how different my life would have been if Anthony hadn't taken a risk on hiring a 24-year-old to be this congregation's first full-time music director. He did that. We are so lucky. We can be grateful, and we can be sad, and we can know that just like a building isn't a congregation, a minister is not a congregation. The congregation itself, our members, our people are the magic. We have been so lucky that for 12 years, Reverend Makar led our community through hard times and crisis, through celebrations and victories. His stamp will forever be on UUCA. And when he goes to Ohio, his stamp will be there too, and Ohio needs it. Apologies to the state of Ohio. Of the literally hundreds of unique sermons I have heard Anthony preach, one that I recall very often in my life is a sermon he gave about luck. He talked about a psychological study that people who believe they are lucky are correct, and people who believe they are unlucky are correct. It was a sermon about the power of perspective, both on your current mood and on future outcomes. Let us use these next few months to remember our great fortune, and together we will continue to create the congregation of our dreams. We will continue to journey together. We will continue to love the hell out of this world and be the congregation that this world needs. And now, I'm going to ring that bell, and we're going to sing together, Spirit of Life.
Let us put hands on hearts, feel the warm connection there, the small gesture of tenderness and soothing. In this moment, let love flow. say to yourself silently, I will love myself, I will love others, and that love will heal the world. And now the joys and sorrows of our beloved community. We are sending our love and sympathy to Michael Dangerfield, whose father has passed. He's in Wisconsin with his family. We're sending him and them the biggest love we know. We send our love and comforting thoughts to former longtime member Roger Comstock. His health continues to fluctuate, but Faith reports that he has more alert days than not. He is aware that his 85th birthday is April 12th. Faith requests greetings by email so she can print them out and share with him. Tony Knuppel's mother, Cheryl, is recovering from surgery on her cervical spine to remove a benign tumor. Everything went well, but she'll have to wear a neck brace for the coming weeks. Please send your thoughts, prayers, and good vibes. At this time, I invite you to say out loud the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Let silence be our sanctuary now. We take in a big breath, and then we exhale. We gently surrender to something larger than ourselves. We enter into the wise silence.
Good morning. Perhaps the only thing as hard as saying goodbye is saying hello. I said hello to Reverend Makar in 2011 when he called me out of the blue from General Assembly. I was new to the congregation, in the throes of moving from Michigan and ending my marriage. But news of my experience serving and leading my Michigan UU congregation had reached his ears. I told him I wanted to take time to do things I didn't have time for in Michigan as a UU board member and president. Anthony encouraged me to quickly join the choir, but I was reluctant because I didn't want everyone watching as I cried every Sunday. Some things never change. The grief associated with leaving my marriage, my professional network, and my beloved UU congregation in Michigan was overwhelming. In truth, I think I spent our entire phone conversation in tears. Anthony was kind and supportive, thanking me for sharing my tears, and I immediately loved him for it. Reverend Makar has been our faithful, fully engaged minister, always bringing his whole self and seeking to do his best to help UUCA grow into the beloved community we want to be. For his wisdom, his intellectual curiosity, his enthusiasm, his humor, his lovely singing voice, his willingness to grow and change, we are forever grateful. I quipped when we were just starting on our Project Phoenix path, and I was approached to serve as your president-elect, that at least we weren't losing the senior minister, which is something I helped guide my Michigan congregation through. Well, losing a senior minister is never easy, especially when we have built community together for 12 years. I know some of us are experiencing pain, anger, abandonment, frustration, anxiety, grief. Please know that your board is walking this path with you and has experienced and will experience many of the same emotions. It is important in this time of change to hold each other especially close in love and compassion. Self-soothing is needed. Sharing with each other is needed. Time to process is needed, but so is action. Your board met in emergency session on Wednesday night and took the first steps to chart a course for continuing the ministry of UUCA. Please join us immediately after service here in the sanctuary for a board donuts and discussion where we will share this information with you. If you can't join us after service today, please look for an e-blast and letter to be mailed early next week to the entire congregation. We will miss Reverend Makar, as I know he will miss us. But UUCA is more than one minister, more than one board, more than the congregation as we are now gathered. It is our mission, our purpose, our values, and our work that unites us and forms us. UUCA will continue because there is still work to be done to bring love and hope and justice to our families, our community, our nation, and our world, now and for generations to come. Your generous contributions help make that work possible. This morning's offering will now be given and most gratefully received. Thank you.
So the Treehouse Choir will be singing a setting of Wendell Berry's perfect poem, The Peace of the Wild Things. It says, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives will be, I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief." That's just good stuff. This is Malcolm Dalglish's arrangement of it, Peace of the Wild Things.
The other day, I was on a hike with my 3-year-old twin sons, and we saw a monarch butterfly alight near us on the hike. And we were talking about what a butterfly is and how it moves, refracting light, winging on the breeze. And I think of ministry in this way, that the minister may be the body. And I think of the wings of ministry spreading out, touching so far, touching the community, touching the congregation, refracted light, all of us having access to that ineffable beauty that's difficult to describe. It's hard to describe ministry in numbers. It's easier to describe it like the wings of a butterfly, the wings of ministry. And don't you feel lucky and grateful to have been touched by the wings of this ministry? If you feel that luck, if you feel that gratitude, please say amen. Amen. May this gift spread the wings of ministry, of Anthony's ministry, of the ministry of this congregation, even farther, touching everyone in our community. Blessed be on this gift. Won't you please join with me in the dedication of the offering, which is on your order of service or on the screen. to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Blessings on this gift.
And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. It has been quite a journey to realize what these words mean by writer Anais Nin, what they mean not abstractly, but firsthand. How remaining tight in the bud translates into gut-twisting heartache, and sleepless nights, and depressed days. How there gets to be a point where you can't fool yourself anymore. You can't shush up the unfulfilled needs anymore. You have to make changes. And you have to take the risk to blossom. I wish I had more years to give. In light of everything going on, I'm painfully aware of it. I sincerely wish I had more years to give. But I could not give those years out of integrity. My ministry flows out of my whole being, and the lack of wholeness has been an issue for long enough. The bud that's felt increasingly painful, it must now blossom. So many of you have been surprised to hear of my personal situation, how 7 years after my divorce, things are still not working for me in Atlanta. And there's a lot to that story, including the fact that I regret none of it. That these past years have been the most personally transformative years of my life. I'm a better person for them. I am a more humane person for them. There's a lot to the story, and I ask for your kindness in respecting my privacy and not prodding me for details or giving me dating advice. Someone I was talking to recently was like, "Are you too picky?" Clearly, I need to be more picky with my friendships. People have been kind. People have been understanding and gracious, and I'm grateful. But there's also shock, perhaps even a bit of anger, that you are only now hearing of this. Perhaps you feel misled. All I can say is I am your minister and you are not my minister. Those who minister to me and know the rawness of my heart, they must be other than you, because that is professionalism. But there's also the reality of complexity. When you see me smile or hear my laughter, I'm not faking it. It's honest. This place, this beloved community has been a true sanctuary for me. The work with you has been such great joy. It has brought me such great joy. I have been changed beautifully by our time together. If you happen to see a picture of me from 12 years ago, and compare that to a picture of me today, you may wonder how it is I look younger now than then. Don't go looking for pictures from me 12 years ago. But it's true. UUCA has been good for me, and I have sincerely tried to be good for you, just the best I knew how. I have tried. And we are still not done yet. I am with you for several months still, As you heard earlier, I will be at the congregational retreat at the mountain, just loving every moment. My last Sunday will be June 16th, Father's Day. The following week is Ministry Days and General Assembly. And then following that, I will be, as you can imagine, super busy packing and just dealing with all that stuff. That's right. But between now and then, we have work to do in facing the challenges of maintaining forward momentum, and I pledge to give that my full attention. And there will also be the work of grieving. My good friend, the Reverend Matthew Cockram, tells me that this work of grieving and letting go is really a matter of three things. First of all, asking for and offering a blessing. Second of all, asking for and offering forgiveness. And then the third thing, saying goodbye. I hope this can happen with each and every one of you in some way, preferably with a whole lot of hugs. Know that as we do this, other losses in our lives are going to come up. Our tears for each other will be mingled with tears for a lost friend, a lost parent, a lost child, some other lost beloved. Our grief work is to let it be what it will be. This, too, is part of what it means to be a spiritual being, having a human experience. But now I want to explore with you a truth that my leaving must highlight in all power and profundity, because maintaining forward momentum cannot be the work of just a few. It never is. But right now, especially, we must recognize this more honestly and more urgently than ever before. The story that Taryn shared earlier will serve as our way in. So we are the monastery. Let's pretend that to be so. We are the monastery, but it is 12 years after the abbot introduced the vision of the Messiah is one of us, which helped transform everything. 12 years after this, the abbot announces he is leaving. Unexpectedly, one day, each monk finds a note slipped under his door. They find the note, they read about the abbot's decision, his parting blessings to them. And here's what happens next. The abbot had hoped to leave his people with peace and grace, but who was he kidding? The abbot is leaving! People are shouting to each other. How dare he? Of all times now. People were sad. People were disappointed. People, hopefully most of them, felt connected to him. When despair or trouble overwhelmed them, they went to him. His door was open to them. They trusted in the ministry of his presence. Plus, he was real with them. They liked that. They liked the fire in the pulpit because it was part of who he was. They liked his sense of humor because it was part of who he was. And they liked his sense of humility. It meant he was empty enough of himself that he had room inside for what others might say, so that he could truly listen. Perhaps it was because of this humility that the abbot thought he could leave his people with peace and grace. With just that, perhaps he had not accurately estimated how much he had meant to them. Besides the personal connection, there was also the institutional connection. He was a leader, a facilitator. His job was to gather and rally the people. He was the one who preached the vision of the Messiah is one of us, who sparked the whole thing, got the ball rolling. Yes, the Messiah is one of us, but what if some of us have more Messiah energy than others? And so the monks were in an uproar. Who can fill his shoes? What happens next? How can we go on without him? The monastery is him. Where do we go from here? In short, it was not peace and grace that the abbot left people with. It was with sadness, shock, anger, anxiety, suspicion, bitterness, feelings of abandonment, also feelings of fear that all the good energy and momentum that had been building up within the community would suddenly go away. Its grace and glow go away. All of these big feelings, and he sincerely felt the weight of them. He felt the weight. So he decided to gather the monks into a great assembly and say a few words, address what was happening, talk about where to go from here, hope to God that he could say something that was worth listening to. He said to them, first of all, I am leaving home. I go with gratitude. Thank you for changing my life. I love you. I believe in you. He said all that with his customary graciousness, and then his guard just crumbled and he just started babbling. Holy crap, this is hard. I'm just exhausted. Twisted up in knots. How do you do this with people you love? How do you do this with people who have been a home to you? They didn't say anything about this in seminary. He babbled. See, I'm telling a story, but it's real, right? He babbled a bit, then coughed to cover up his embarrassment at his self-indulgence. He collected himself, started over, saying, friends, the word about my leaving has only now gone out. We are only at the beginning of a process of saying goodbye. Nothing can instantaneously clear up the big feelings that we are all feeling, yet perhaps there is something I can say that will help us do what needs to be done, which is to give ourselves fearlessly to the flow of life here and now, to trust the process. Please hear me. 12 years ago, I brought into this place a vision that made my heart burst with joy, that the Messiah is one of us. Not a scarcity mentality, that the Messiah is always something else or someone else somewhere apart from us and we have to go reaching for it. It's not something we already have here, always searching and seeking for it beyond us. No, not that. And also not the idea that there can be only one official Messiah, only one person among us who gets to be brilliant, only one person among us who gets to have a good news imagination, who gets to do genuine ministry, while everyone else sits and receives, or they criticize from the sidelines. That is not the vision I brought here. The vision I brought was the Messiah is one of us. Sometimes me, sometimes you. The work of ministry belongs to all of us. If anyone has the luxury to criticize from the sidelines, well, that person needs to get busy helping to be a part of the solution, even if all that means is being a little more trusting. The work of ministry belongs to us all. For all the 12 years that I have been among you, I have been only as good as you let me be. You could have pecked me to death like ducks. I've only been as good as you have let me be. You gave me big shoes to fill and trusted I could fill them. And I hope I did. You saw me with eyes of wonder. I saw you with eyes of wonder. When I screwed up, you carried me. We carried each other. Energy went back and forth between us. We created this monastery together. I was only as good as you were and are. It means that if you believe in it and trust in it, you will only go from strength to strength. This place will continue changing lives. Plans are in preparation to ensure a smooth transition, which you will learn from Sister Carol Ann soon. A special nun in our monastery. Here's where the story just falls flat, but whatever. You are in good hands. And above all, always above all, the Messiah is still one of us. I may leave, but the Messiah does not leave with me. The Messiah stays right here. I hope you will hold on to that, even as it's hard to know exactly what is coming up, even as things may still feel a bit messy. I was only as good as you were and are. You are strong. You will go from strength to strength. Believe it. A last word to you. In upcoming weeks and months, please take special care to be the Messiah for each other. Anxiety can sometimes make people do mean things and say mean things and spread rumors. Anxiety can make people assume unfair things. You are better than that. Help each other through the shock and the grief. When another is hurting, be strong for them. When you are hurting, don't you run away. Don't you run away. You let someone else be strong for you. We are all in this thing together. Keep hope and faith alive among you. If we pull together and not apart, it is going to be okay. That's what the abbot said. And as people heard what he said, the Messiah was still among them. The abbot was leaving, but it was going to be okay. And in subsequent months, of course, there were ups and downs. But the monks never forgot the vision at the heart of their community. The Messiah is one of us. And that is why the entire community never stopped glowing with kindness and grace. That is why their spiritual life never stopped being profound and deep. That is why the worship services never stopped vibrating with an amazing energy. And that is why the community never stopped growing. New people kept on coming in because they wanted to be a part of a place with a resilient heart. A place that doesn't promise escape from the changes and hurts of life. Because then, that would be lying. No, it was a place that grieved honestly and openly, but then shook off the dust, got back on its feet, and kept going. It was a place with a vision and a purpose. A place that never forgot it existed to serve a higher vision of changing lives. A place that believed to the bottom of its heart that peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of love in the face of struggle. Because of this, the people kept coming. The people stayed. The community was blessed. The Messiah was indeed one of us. And that's the end of the story. And I want it to be our story here at UUCA. Be urgent for the mission of this place. Be urgent for your commitment to continue changing lives here and more that are not yet here. You will only go from strength to strength if you believe. I am honest when I say I was only as strong as you let me be. I was only as good as you were and are. The Messiah is one of us. Amen. Our
Our final hymn this morning is Anthony's favorite hymn. He'd do it every Sunday if I let him. It's number 1020, Wo Ya Ya. Please rise in body or in spirit. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it, and we get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains.
Yeah, I think Carol Ann said so.
From the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue
Please join hands for the benediction. There is no place in all the world where that song is sung like it's sung here. Either of those songs, which I hope to have one day as a part of my memorial service. They mean so much to me. You're laughing at that. That's weird. What's not weird is that there is no place where I will hear those songs as we hear them here. It's just one of the ways of saying this is a true loss for me. To make this decision that I feel I must make, I want you to know how dearly I will miss you and how dear I hold you in my heart. And let me also say that something else that I have that has been so dear for me is the fact that you have accepted me in my vulnerability. I don't know how else to be a minister. I have found that my mistakes and my sorrows and my hurts have been the richest raw material for my ministry. So I thank you for that, for allowing me to be all of who I am. I love you. Go in peace.